It's an honor to talk to both of you. You're incredible talents, obviously, but this film shows so much of the range and what you can do. Geoffrey, I just want to start asking this. There's so much here, like stuff about aging, about manhood, about heroism, but there's powerful ideas of like being principled and standing for something. And I'm curious if all of that works its way into how you approach the character and if you have interpretations and thoughts about the person he is and the role he plays.
Yeah, I mean, James Ashcroft, the director and co-writer with his colleague Eli Kent, when I read the screenplay, by page three, I went, "Ooh, the detail, the detail, the surprise." By page 10, another alarming surprise. Do you know what I mean? They're so in control and in charge of the material. And I had to deal with the fact that the thing I had to confront was I'd have to express everything about this man in a wheelchair that had only 5 speeds on it. My left hand was able to operate this little joystick. So I had a code with James Ashcroft. Is this a number 1 speed, or is this number 5, or is this number 5 in a very narrow corridor? That became kind of the fun for me in making this. And yes, I was aware that Stefan is just mentioned in the short story. He's just part of the team roundup. He's in residence at the facility. But James and Eli sort of said we were going to make him a king at one point, but I thought, no, that would be a bit too loopy. But they said we wanted a character of nobility, of strength. And they made him a judge because they wanted someone who believed in how law could hold a human society together in a microcosm in an aged care facility. So they were dealing in big landscapes. And it became, I noticed as the script went on and neurological transformations were taking place within the character, and I started to say less and less, but it became more and more like a kind of French connection around the corridors of the nursing home.
Yeah. John, I'm on the other side of the coin. This character is so evil. He's so twisted, and you're gleeful in it, but you find these moments, and I know they're on the page to create humanity, and bringing that though to life believably is so. How does that work? How do you do that? Can you talk about that a little bit?
A wonderful question. These are exactly the things that I think about too, George. You and I are on the same page. I mean, in preparing a role like this, he is unspeakably sadistic and cruel. He is a bully. It's a movie about bullying. But whenever I take on a character like this, I've never taken on a character quite like this, but villains, characters with a bad side, I always look for what makes them that way. What damage is there in their own lives that have created this diabolical personality? Uh, and in the case of, there are a couple of important things to remember. First of all, when Mortensen goes to them and says, "This man is tormenting me," and they say Mortensen is simply old and addled and he's imagining things. Dave is perfectly harmless. Well, he's got to have an aspect where he fools an awful lot of perfectly competent people into thinking he is harmless, that he's ineffectual and he's gently slipping into a sort of innocuous old age. And that's an act on his part. Well, it's a matter of finding, first of all, he's very, very clever. He can imitate he's been working as a janitor in a senior care facility his whole life, so he knows very well how to pretend to be one of these lost creatures so that he can wreak vengeance on this man. To me, it was a big breakthrough when I realized there was an episode in his young years where he looked at the judge giving a
Yeah.
speech in a hotel when he was working there doing drudgery duty as a janitor, where he just felt rage. It stuck with his entire life. Well, just imagine the day when the judge is brought into his own territory in a wheelchair. And
You're creeping me out, John.
suffering. So suddenly, Dave, for the first time in his life, he has an opportunity to achieve revenge against this. Just the very fact that it was something so minute, the source of his obsession. To me, that was, great. I've got something to hang on to. It just motivated the entire character because to me, and fortunately, James Ashcroft works exactly the same way. Everything has got to make emotional sense. Otherwise, it's just a slasher film.
Yeah. But
It's
it
a
has all that depth, and that is the moment from the audience that you bring it when it's like,
yeah.
oh, he's
And
very
that was,
relatable.
and that not to be too self-congratulatory, that was not in the script when
Oh,
that little revelation toward the end, it was not there. So there wasn't this motivation that sort of explained uh, uh, Dave Creeley's insane character to the extent that it can be explained at all. I found that in the short story that
wow.
James sent me, the Owen Marshall's original short story. He recreated that little moment from James's youth, from Dave's youth, and I said, please put that in so that there's some explanation for this. Otherwise, there's no chance of having the slightest grain of empathy for this character, because I do think it's important that at some point you feel, oh, I mean, there are characters in the play who are quite fond of Dave.
Yeah.
Like the wallpaper and the furniture in that place. He's always been here. He's harmless. Like Dave, he was a reliable janitor. It had to be possible to maintain that fiction. Anyway, I'm
Yeah.
talking too much, George.
No, you're not here. This is for you to talk. So next quite want to shift gears for a second, but and then get back to you, Jeffrey. But you've probably heard and been asked a lot about it, but you're stepping into a role in a franchise that is massive in the Harry Potter world, and I am curious in much the same way. It's more than just this character who's iconic. It's this cultural figure, this place as the guide, as the wise wizard. And what do you want to bring to that? Like, I'm sure you're excited. Are you excited? What do you hope to bring to it? It's such a massive
Oh,
piece of a
I'm
landscape.
very excited. Really great people are doing this. I mean, my first question is, do we really need this? There have been wonderful Harry Potter films. The books, people know the books by heart. But these people, among their credits, are basically creating and directing Succession. They have a whole vision for how to make it brand new. Uh, and so I've plunged myself into Harry Potter lore. It's also a great old man's part, which is going to last a few years, and it's a good time in my life to be thinking about, well, how do I want to how do I want to close this thing out? So I'm very excited about it. It's going to be working with great people in a great city full of great actors. I just know that the casts for these 7 seasons, it's going to be tremendous. So yeah, I'm excited, and I mean, I have never experienced such excitement from people just getting news. Oh my God, of course, hey, you're the perfect Dumbledore. Like what? What? I had never thought of myself as that. I must say, I was always a huge fan of Michael Gambon, a man I never met, and I thought he was completely wonderful as Dumbledore. There is a uncanny factoid that he and I have the same birthday, which
Oh wow. Well, there we go.
that explains.
It's written. It is
Magic. It's magic.
Harry Potter magic. So here we go.
Geoffrey, in a similar note, you have experience with the big franchises, certainly. What would be the circumstances? Would you ever be interested, given there's been a lot of holdup on where the Pirates franchise goes and everything with Johnny Depp, who's incredible. The two of you are incredible together. Would you do it again? Is there a reason to do more? Could you see that?
I at the end of the number 5 in the series, I had a good time on that over a very long period. You know, it was probably 12, 15 years or something from beginning to end.
Wow.
But after the final chapter was, you know, I've died twice, and I didn't want an exhumation. I thought would have been wrong. Having sacrificed his life for his own child.
Yeah.
And I thought that's cheesy. And then I went, you know, if Johnny does it, I don't know. If Margot Robbie does this, you know, people, it's up in the air. I don't know. I'm sure Jerry Bruckheimer knows more. I have had conversations with Jerry saying, you know, he could, if he came back like Hamlet's father as a ghost, I said there's dramatic possibilities in that, but also comedic ones. He just comes back for a couple of scenes to annoy the shit out of Jack.
I should
And
add,
that would be a sort of cherry. That would be a button on the story, the whole storyline, because he worked for the king. He became ridiculously wealthy. He got everything, you know.
Yeah.
The curse was broken, the Aztec gold was all there. So yeah, to be able to just come back and annoy Jack and claim narcissistic superpowers over him.
I love it.
It sounded good as I'm saying it now.
Great
I'm
pitch.
going,
Yeah, I'm in.
I'm pitching. I don't know.
I want to close asking both of you, like we've talked about the movie, we've talked about these massive things in the industry. How do we let people know that a movie like The Rule of Jenny Penn needs to be seen? It's a great little movie. It's a wonderful story. There's wonderful work being done. And we're all gonna see these big movies, but like how do we help people know that you gotta go see it in a theater, you know?
that's why we're here, George.
Oh, that's why we're here.
We rely on you.
Seeing it in a
think-
theater is very important.
I've always felt it has the potential to just spread like wildfire. I mean, people discovering this film and just insisting that everybody else see it because it is unique in so many ways. For one thing, there has never been a depiction of a senior care facility like this, handled with such dignity and compassion and accuracy. And it's the background to this foreground story that is so gripping and so scary, yes, but it has just in terms of pure storytelling and
Powerful ideas of aging too, right? Just in general.
and the great subject of cruelty and bullying, treated with ruthless honesty, but a lot of compassion.
Yeah. Well, Geoffrey, do you have anything else you'd add just about the film or about why it's unique, its uniqueness, its depth?
For me, it was acting my own age. It was acting, you know, when people go, act your age. And I go, yeah, because when I was 23 in repertory theatre in Australia, I was, you know, adept with crepe hair and spirit gum and lichen and makeup kit. And I did play people who were 73. Now I just turn up.
That's awesome. Guys, I just want to thank you again so much for doing this. I loved the film and I loved the chance to speak with both of you. Congratulations and good luck with the rest of it and the press.
Thank you, George.
Thanks, George. Thanks so
Good day.
much.